She never meowed, not once, not ever in the 3 years Ethan had known her, but every single time he reached out to pet her, she did the exact same thing. She lifted her chin, tilted her head back, and pressed it directly into his palm. Not a nudge, not an accident, deliberate, precise, every time. At first, he thought it was just how she liked to be petted, a quirk, something to smile about and forget. He was wrong. Because what that small, repeated gesture actually meant would take him almost 2 years to understand, and when he finally did, he would never look at her the same way again. Ethan found her on a Tuesday in late October, behind a laundromat 3 blocks from his apartment. It was raining, the kind of thin, cold rain that soaks through denim in minutes. He ducked under the awning to wait it out when he heard something scraping against the dumpster. She was pressed into the narrow gap between the brick wall and the metal bin, soaked, shaking, patched white and gray fur matted flat against her ribs, which he could count from 3 feet away. She didn't run, she didn't hiss. She just looked at him with wide, tired eyes, like she'd already used up whatever fight she had left. He crouched down slowly, held out 2 fingers, she sniffed them once, and then, without warning, pressed her whole head forward into his hand. That was the first time. He didn't think anything of it that night. He wrapped her in his jacket, carried her home, and named her Clover, for the single white patch shaped like a leaf just above her nose. The vet guessed she was around 2 years old, underweight, dehydrated, no microchip, no collar, a stray who'd likely been on her own for months, maybe longer. The vet also said something Ethan didn't fully register at the time. Cats who've been alone this long, she said, sometimes forget how to ask for things. Watch for how she tells you what she needs. It won't look normal. He nodded. He thought he understood. He didn't. Those first nights, Ethan barely slept. He kept the bathroom door cracked so Clover could hide in there if she needed to, a towel folded in the corner, a small dish of water within reach. He'd read online that stray cats sometimes take weeks, even months, to understand that a door closing doesn't mean someone is trapping them. He didn't know yet how true that would turn out to be for her. She flinched at the sound of the refrigerator. She flinched at footsteps in the hallway outside his apartment, footsteps that had nothing to do with her at all. Twice, he found her pressed so flat against the baseboard that he almost didn't see her, just 2 wide eyes catching the hallway light. The first few weeks were quiet in a way that worried him. Clover didn't explore the apartment. She didn't play with the toys he bought. She found the space under the bed and stayed there, coming out only to eat, drink, and use the litter box, always at night, always when she thought he was asleep. But every evening when he sat on the floor near her hiding spot and reached out, slowly, without pushing, she would do it again, lift her chin, press it into his palm, hold it there. He started to notice the pattern. It wasn't random. It happened every time his hand came near her face, every single time without fail. Not when he touched her back, not when he touched her paws, only her chin, only his palm, only that exact motion. By week 6, something shifted. Clover started sleeping on the couch instead of under the bed. By week 10, she was waiting by the door when he came home from work, sitting upright, watching. And every time he crouched down to greet her, the chin came up. Every time. A friend visiting one weekend noticed it too. "Does she always do that?" she asked, watching Clover press her head into Ethan's hand for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. Every single time, Ethan said. He'd started saying it like a fact about the weather. Unremarkable, just Clover being Clover. He mentioned it once to a coworker who bred cats years ago, half expecting a simple answer. She frowned instead. "That's not normal headbutting," she said. "Headbutting is quick, it's a stamp. What you're describing sounds like she's holding on to something." Ethan laughed it off at the time. He had no idea how close she'd come to the truth. Over the following year, Clover's world kept widening. She learned the sound of his keys in the lock and would already be sitting by the door before he opened it. She claimed the windowsill above the radiator as hers alone. She started following him from room to room, not clinging, just present, the way a shadow is present. But the chin, the hand, that one motion never changed, no matter how confident she became in every other part of her new life. Hey, quick pause. If you've made it this far into the story, you clearly love these kinds of moments. Hit subscribe right now. It genuinely means everything, and it helps more stories like this one get made. The truth came almost 2 years later on a night Ethan wasn't even thinking about Clover at all. He'd had a rough day, a worse night. He was sitting on the couch in the dark, not watching the television that was on, just sitting there, hollow, the way you get after holding yourself together too long. He didn't call for her, he didn't move. Clover jumped up beside him anyway. She pressed her body against his leg and then, slowly, deliberately, lifted her chin into his open hand resting on the cushion, and she held it there, longer than usual, much longer. He looked down at her in the dim light, and for the first time, he really looked. Her eyes weren't just closed in comfort, they were closed the way his own eyes closed when someone finally showed up after a very long wait. He sat there for a long, quiet moment before he moved at all, almost afraid that shifting his hand would break whatever this was. Then he called the vet's after-hours line the next morning just to ask. The behaviorist on staff listened to his description and went quiet for a moment before answering. "That's a self-soothing behavior," she said. "Cats who were separated too early or who spent long periods without safe contact sometimes create their own ritual for feeling secure. She's not asking to be pet, she's telling you she feels safe enough to ask at all." Ethan sat with that for a long time after he hung up. Every scrap of matted fur behind that dumpster, every night she'd spent alone before he found her, every week she'd hidden under his bed, testing whether this place was real or just another version of somewhere she'd eventually have to leave. And every single time, through all of it, she had reached for his hand anyway. Not because she had to, because somewhere along the way, she'd decided he was the one thing in the world worth reaching for. She wasn't asking him to fix her, she never needed fixing. She was simply telling him, over and over, in the only language she trusted, that she had chosen to stay. Clover is almost 5 now. She still does it every single day. Chin lifted, eyes closed, pressed into his palm like clockwork. Some habits, it turns out, are never really habits at all. They're promises, repeated until you finally understand what they mean. Some animals show love loudly, with noise and demands and constant motion. Clover shows hers with one quiet motion, repeated for years, until the person she loves finally learns how to hear it. If you've ever loved an animal that needed time before it could trust you, you already know exactly what this story is about. So here's what I want to know. Do you think animals develop these quiet little rituals because they remember what they survived? Or is it simply their own private way of saying thank you? Tell me what you think in the comments.